What if I told you that a single Spartan warrior could potentially defeat 3 samurai in hand-to-hand combat? I know that sounds insane, especially since samurai are considered the ultimate warriors by most people. But the truth about this legendary matchup will completely blow your mind. Today, we're settling one of history's most debated battles: Spartan versus samurai. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly who would dominate in a real fight. And the answer might shock you. Make sure to subscribe because we're diving deep into some serious warrior science here. Set up. Before we jump into this epic showdown, let's set the stage. In the red corner, we have the Spartan warrior, bred for war from birth, trained in the agoge system that turned boys into killing machines, and part of the most feared military force in ancient Greece. These guys didn't just fight battles, they were living weapons. In the blue corner, the samurai, Japan's legendary warrior class, masters of Bushido, wielding the finest steel ever created, and trained in combat arts that took decades to perfect. They dominated Japan for over 700 years and became the stuff of legends, but who would actually win in a one-on-one death match? Let's break this down scientifically. Round 1, weapons and equipment. Let's start with the most obvious question. What are they fighting with? The Spartans' primary weapon was the dory spear, 8 to 10 feet of ash wood topped with a bronze or iron spearhead. This wasn't just a poking stick, it was a precision killing instrument. The spear gave Spartans incredible reach advantage, and they could thrust, sweep, and even use the bronze butt spike as a backup weapon. But here's what most people don't know. Spartans also carried a xiphos sword, a short, leaf-shaped blade perfect for close combat. And that famous hoplon shield? It wasn't just for defense. Spartans used it as a weapon, bashing enemies and creating openings for killing strikes. Now the samurai's katana gets all the attention, and for good reason. These swords were folded steel masterpieces, sharper than surgical instruments, and flexible enough to slice through silk scarves floating in the air. The katana was backed up by the wakizashi short sword and sometimes a tanto dagger. Some samurai also used yumi longbows, which could punch through armor at incredible distances. Here's the game changer though. The Spartan's bronze face shield was massive, 3 feet in diameter and designed to deflect arrows and spear thrusts. The samurai's armor was incredible, but they relied more on mobility than total protection. In terms of raw defensive capability, the Spartan takes this round. That shield is a game changer. Round 2, armor and protection. This is where things get really interesting. The Spartan wore a bronze cuirass that protected his torso, bronze greaves on his shins, and a bronze helmet with cheek guards. The total weight was around 60 to 70 pounds, but it was distributed perfectly for combat mobility. Most importantly, every piece was designed to work with that shield. The samurai's armor was completely different. Lamellar plates laced together with silk or leather cords. It was lighter, more flexible, and allowed for the lightning-fast movements that made samurai legendary. The iconic kabuto helmet wasn't just for show, it deflected sword strikes and provided excellent visibility. But here's the crucial difference. Spartan armor was designed for formation fighting with shields, while samurai armor was built for individual dueling. In a one-on-one fight, this matters enormously. The samurai armor was better at stopping sword cuts, but the Spartan's bronze cuirass was nearly impenetrable to slashing attacks. However, and this is huge, the katana's point could potentially find gaps in the bronze armor, while the Spartan spear could punch through lamellar plates. This round is closer than you'd think, but the Spartan's integrated shield and armor system gives him the edge in pure protection. Round 3, training and combat philosophy. Now we get to the heart of what made these warriors legendary. The Spartan agoge system was literally designed to create the perfect soldier. Boys were taken from their families at age 7 and subjected to brutal training that would be considered child abuse today. They learned to fight, endure pain, live off the land, and most importantly, never retreat. Spartans trained for formation fighting, but they were also skilled individual combatants. They practiced with spear and sword daily, learned to fight wounded, and were taught that death in battle was the highest honor. The psychological conditioning was intense. Spartans genuinely didn't fear death. samurai training was different but equally intense. They studied kenjutsu sword techniques, kyujutsu archery, and bujutsu horsemanship from childhood. But here's what made them special. They also studied poetry, calligraphy, and tea ceremony. This wasn't just about fighting. It was about achieving spiritual perfection through combat. The Bushido Code taught samurai that death was preferable to dishonor. They would literally commit seppuku rather than face defeat. This psychological edge can't be underestimated. But there's a crucial difference. Spartans trained primarily to fight as part of a phalanx formation, while samurai were trained for individual dueling. In a one-on-one fight, the samurai's training is more directly applicable. However, Spartans were also trained to adapt and improvise. They fought against different enemies with different weapons and tactics. Samurai primarily fought other samurai with similar equipment and techniques. This round goes to the samurai for a superior individual combat training, but it's closer than most people think. Round 4. Battle conditions and tactics. Here's where we separate the warriors from the weekend fighters. How would these two actually fight each other? The Spartan would immediately try to establish distance using his spear's reach advantage. He'd hold his shield forward, creating a bronze barrier, and probe for openings with lightning-fast spear thrusts. The goal would be to keep the samurai at spear range where the katana can't reach. The samurai would need to close distance quickly. He'd use his superior mobility to circle and find angles of attack. The katana's cutting power means he only needs one good strike to end the fight. He might even draw his wakizashi in his offhand for dual-wielding attacks. But here's the decisive factor: battlefield psychology. Spartans were trained to be immovable objects. They'd plant their feet and become a bronze wall of death. Samurai were trained to be unstoppable forces, flowing like water to find weaknesses. The key moment comes when the samurai tries to close distance. If the Spartan can time his spear thrust perfectly as the samurai commits to an attack, it's game over. The bronze spearhead would punch through lamellar armor. But if the samurai can get inside the spear's reach, his superior close combat training and the katana's cutting power would dominate. One clean strike could sever limbs or find gaps in the bronze armor. Round 5, the X factors. Let's talk about the factors that could swing this fight. First, experience. Both warriors would have extensive combat experience, but against different types of enemies. Spartans fought Greeks, Persians, and various Mediterranean peoples. Samurai primarily fought other Japanese warriors. Second, adaptability. Spartans were used to fighting enemies with different weapons and tactics. They'd seen spears, swords, axes, and bows. Samurai might be surprised by the spear and shield combination since Japanese warfare evolved differently. Third, physical conditioning. Both were in peak condition, but Spartan training emphasized raw physical power and endurance. Samurai training focused more on speed, precision, and spiritual discipline. The verdict. So, who actually wins? Based on weapons, armor, training, and tactical advantages. The winner is the Spartan, but by the smallest possible margin. Here's why. The spear and shield combination is simply too dominant in a one-on-one fight. The reach advantage means the Spartan can strike without being struck. The massive bronze shield neutralizes the katana's cutting advantage. And the Spartan's psychological conditioning to never retreat means he won't back down when the samurai tries to close distance. However, if the samurai can get past the spear and inside the shield's protection, he wins immediately. The katana is a superior close combat weapon, and samurai dueling skills are unmatched. This fight could go either way, but the spear gives the Spartan a statistical edge. Maybe 6 out of 10 times, the Spartan wins. But those 4 times the samurai wins, he wins decisively. What do you think? Did the Spartan's reach advantage convince you, or do you think the samurai's sword skills would prevail? Let me know in the comments. I love reading your battle analyses. If you enjoyed this epic showdown, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe for more legendary warrior battles. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss our next video. What warrior battle should we analyze next? Drop your suggestions into the comments below. Until next time, stay epic and extraordinary.